Here is a Lenovo L412 laptop computer. I like this computer. This is one of my most used computers. Unfortunately, this computer contains a self-destruct keystroke, which I have unintentionally pressed quite a few times over the years. The pressing of this keystroke usually results in having to reinstall the operating system into the computer, because it goes into this endless cycle of hibernation. When this keystroke is pressed, the machine will hibernate, and you're able to turn it back on afterwards, and it comes back up as normal, but then within 3 to 5 seconds it hibernates again, and the cycle just repeats. The last time I pressed the keystroke, I finally figured out what it is. It is function F12, which is up here, and the function key is over here. And I guess it's a keystroke to hibernate the computer. Why it does so infinitely is beyond me. But anyways, the reason why this keystroke gets pressed is because the brightness controls are right here, and these are also function keys, and so then only 2 over you have this key. So what happens is I'll be using the computer during the day, and the brightness will be at a higher setting, and then I'll open the computer at night and it's blinding, so I go to turn the brightness down right quick, and instead of pressing FN this, I might go over here and press this because I can't see what the keys are because the keyboard is not backlit. So that's what's happening. So I just have to be a lot more careful now when I adjust the brightness in the dark to not hit that F12 key. The previous 2 times ago that I pressed this keystroke, I got lucky and I was able to remove the battery at some particular point in time. I think right before it turned on, or I don't know, at some point in this wake and hibernate cycle, I pulled the battery out, and I did it at just the right time that I was able to kind of reset the system and then put the battery back in, and it booted up as normal. The last time I pressed the keystroke, I tried to do the same thing. I did not get as lucky, and I got the expected outcome, which was to crash the Windows off the hard drive. And that's kind of where we're at now. If we turn this on, we just don't really get much. So we get the blinking cursor looking for the boot sequence, and something has corrupted. It will eventually, if it sits for long enough, it'll eventually come up and have that Windows error recovery screen. So we're gonna reinstall the Windows again today. I don't think so that there were any documents on this computer. There might have been a couple of miscellaneous pictures that somebody had just sent me or something like that. I will be taking the drive out, and we're going to attempt to recover we're going to check for rather any documents that are on the computer, and if there are any, we'll try to recover them. I'm not going to do that on video. What I'm going to do on video is we're going to set up a new hard drive, install it into the machine, and hopefully get the Windows working again. And this will kind of serve as a interesting checkpoint for Windows 7, because we know that for the most part Windows 7 is still completely usable on the internet and with everything else I'm doing here, but in running something that exists and then installing something are 2 different worlds. So we might find that something works properly that already exists but will not install again, or the installer does not exist, etc. So we'll check Discord, which has officially dropped support for Windows 7 but still works. We'll check Spotify, which I believe has also dropped support for Windows 7 but still works. We'll check Google's Chrome, we'll check Firefox, both of which have dropped official support for Windows 7 but still work. I'm kind of interested in how many things we can still download. It doesn't really matter because I can't change it and I have the download saved anyways, but it's a curiosity. I'll just get all these screws out here and then we'll be able to remove the drive. So here's the old drive. This is a Hitachi drive. It's a 320 gigabytes, 7200 RPM drive. I'm going to see if I have one that's the same as this because these drives are a little bit thicker than a standard 2.5. For example, here's what I would consider to be a standard 2.5, and you can see it's about 1 millimeter or so thicker. I have fit SSDs in these things before and they work fine, but I want to see if I can fit another original drive back in here. So let me take a look around and see if I have one of these, and then we'll come back on the video. The box of hard drives is gone. I have a box, actually I have 2 boxes I keep hard drives in, and the one with the known good working drives is just gone. I used it yesterday, took something out of it yesterday, and today it's nowhere to be found. So that's infuriating to say the least. But I did find this drive miscellaneous around the house, and it's not the same brand, but it's the same size, so it should work just fine. So we'll just need to swap over to caddies. This has a different caddy on it, which is not for this machine. This is a Western Digitan, 320 gigabytes, 7200 RPM. It's the same spec as this one. There's our tripod kick for the video. This will come out of here like that, and then we'll stick this one in. This is a certified reutilized part. I don't know what that means, as long as it's not refurbished. I do not like refurbished. Used or reused, that's fine, but no refurbished from me. Okay, so now the drive is physically ready to go in. So now we're going to move over to this other computer and we're going to put the Windows onto this hard drive. I've just connected the hard drive to the computer using a USB to SATA adapter. And now what we're going to do is we're going to restore to this drive a Windows 7 installer that's in progress. I started doing this a couple years ago. I built a bunch of different installers of different versions of Windows. And the way I did it is I started to install Windows, and then after it copied certain files onto the drive, I interrupted the install and I captured an image of that drive. And so now when I want to install Windows into a computer, instead of making bootable media or using a DVD, which is very slow, I take the hard drive I want to use in a computer, I restore the Windows installer image of that drive, and then I put the drive in the machine and boot it up and Windows installs. It's very practical. So the program I use is called Macarium Reflect, which is a free program for home use. And so we're going to go under Restore, and we're going to browse for an image. And so here's 3 I've made. We have Windows 7 Home Premium with USB 3. Hey. And then we have one with Windows 8, 8.1. So in this case we're going to use the Windows 7 Home Premium 64. So we're going to make our selection here and open this. And then we're going to go do a right click and do Restore Image. And we're going to restore it into this. Oh gosh, what is she hacking up over there? We're going to select disk 2. That's the hard drive we're looking at. And then we're going to do a finish. And then we have to confirm that we're going to overwrite everything on the drive, which is fine. And then we'll continue. And this just takes about 2 minutes if you have USB 3, which we do on this computer. And this is a lot faster than going through the setup process every time from scratch. You see it's going real quick. I really liked the sound of that other hard drive. You could hear it clicking. I like that. I wonder if this one, I don't really hear this one too much. I'm not sure if this one is noisy or not. I gotta find that stinking box of hard drives. I can't believe that disappeared. That's ridiculous. Alright, we're almost halfway there. So you can see it does really go quite quickly. And then we'll put this drive. We already got the caddy on there, so we'll just drop this drive into the machine. And when we boot up the machine, it's going to just start installing Windows. Okay, it's done. Now we're going to install the hard drive into the computer. So the label faces down and the little tab goes in here on this side first. And then, oh boy, I think we got a problem here. This does not fit. So this is bigger. Yeah, the screws. I thought that I reused the same screws. Maybe I gotta reuse these other screws. These other screws look a little bit thinner. This is another reason why I wanted to get the same model drive, because then we know that it will fit properly. Hopefully the other screws resolve this problem. I think that those screws are a little bit thinner than these screws. Yeah, these go a lot more flush with the side of the thing than the other ones were. I think still this will solve the problem. I suppose I could also screw it on the... Could I screw it on the bottom? No, it's not wide enough. Okay, let's see if it fit now. Excellent, it fits. Okay, so now I'll put the cover back on. This is an area here you always got to watch for. Make sure these clips go in before anything else does, otherwise it'll stick down once you got the screws in, and it's no good. Okay. That should be all the hardware stuff that we gotta do. Let's power this on and see how it behaves. Okay, so now when we start it up, it should just install Windows. It's not letting me change the brightness right now, but it is working properly, so it's going to go through a couple other steps of the setup, and then it'll be ready to use. And then we'll have to find out what we can do in terms of... See, it's almost done. It's gone through all four of those things already, and just a few minutes it'll be ready to go. Okay, it's ready to go. The mouse is not working because the mouse is not plugged in. And now the mouse is not working for an unknown reason. There it goes. And we're going to enter the product key later. Alright, so we have nothing in terms of drivers. So we're going to have to go to another computer and grab at least the network driver so we can proceed with getting the rest of the drivers. It looks like Lenovo has recently created a different part of the website for these older products. They're calling it end-of-life product resources, and it says these resources are provided as is at the product end of life and will not be further updated by Lenovo, which is fine. As long as the stuff is still there, that's good enough for me. Now, interestingly enough, this website is very basic, very simple in design. It's very clear and it's very easy to use, much easier to use than their modern website for the products that they still support. So I've selected the L412 here, and it has a lengthy list of all the drivers that we would need in different versions. So I'll go ahead and download the corresponding versions that we need. I'll save them into a flash drive, and then we'll go back to the laptop. I put all the drivers into this USB flash drive. I also saved a local copy of these drivers into my file server, because who knows how much longer these legacy drivers are going to be available on the website. One problem I noticed with that website, and pretty much the only problem I noticed, is that it does not give you the serial number search to get specifics about your given unit. So these will offer with some different configurations, some different graphics cards or what have you, and you just have to figure that out yourself now. I did check the regular site, and there is no longer any trace of these laptops, so the legacy site is all you have to work with. So let's we're gonna install the network driver. Right, so I didn't actually put the I didn't actually put the drivers into this folder. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let's try again. That's much more of the expected result. Okay, so let's see if we can get network access. Let's see here. There's only one network driver, so this should be the correct one. Inherently, the camera ran out of charge at some point, but we got the network driver installed. In case this wasn't captured, we got the network driver installed and we gained access to the network, and now I've copied over the Windows Update agent, which we're going to install. And this should restore functionality to Windows updates. Now, it's not known how much longer Windows updates will be available, but as of today it is working, so we should be able to get this to work with no problem. It's a quick installation. Okay, so we're going to restart. It's going to do some configuring here, and then when it comes back up, we're going to go into the Windows Update settings, and we're going to change it from automatic or whatever it's set to now. We're going to change it to never, and then we have to restart again, because if you check for updates manually while it's doing it automatically, it doesn't work. So we have to set it to off, and then rerun a manual check, and that manual check afterwards should work. Okay. So let's go to Window Update. And we're going to do let me choose, and we're going to turn it off. Never check for updates. Okay. And then we got to do a reboot one more time. And then we're going to have hundreds of updates come in. It's going to take a while to go through them all. Okay, so now we're going to go to Windows Update again, and this time we're going to trigger a checking for updates with this button, and it should come in with a couple hundred soon. Here we go. Here's all the updates. These are all Windows based, and then we have actually almost all of the drivers. This is an impressive amount of drivers that are in here. I don't remember capturing that many drivers before. You even got the mouse track software on there. That's interesting. Well, I guess for the sake of time, we'll just go ahead and install them all. There's an error with one of these drivers, which is kind of unusual. I don't really ever use Bluetooth on here, so I'm not too concerned about it, but it's quite possible this doesn't even have Bluetooth. I don't know. Okay, several hundred updates have installed. There will still be a handful of updates trickling in over the next couple days or weeks as I use the machine and turn it on and off. But that's fine. We should have most, if not all, of the ones that we need to get the basic programs on here. So let's go ahead and see if we can download a different browser using Internet Explorer. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and change it to the arrow theme. That was one of the things I always remember setting up a new Windows 7 computer. You would have this basic theme, and then you'd install the graphics driver, and it would switch to that beautiful arrow theme. Here we go. Wow. That is so nice. Okay, that's fine, we can do that. Looks like it is at least navigating to something. We are totally not going to do that. It'll be interesting to see if Edge puts itself on this computer now that the system is several years expired. This looks really weird on the camera preview. Let's see if we can download Google's Chrome. Okay. For Windows 8, Windows 7. Whoops, that was not good. Looks like that worked. So now let's try, let's see if we can download Discord. We know that Facebook Messenger does not work under Windows 7 anymore. Or if it ever did, I don't know. Looks like it's some kind of a silent installer. Or it doesn't work. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that's working, and it was still available to download. Now let's see about Spotify here. This has become more difficult to download in recent months, even on a newer system. It keeps trying to force you through a store of some kind, but we don't want that. Okay, so the installer here is not working. Let's see what it says. So now officially says Windows 10 or above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a copy I have saved on my file server. And this should be the offline installer, which, providing Spotify does not change something in terms of the way the internet access works, this should continue to install and operate with no trouble. Let me see if it'll let me log in. It did in fact log in. So that is working with the old installer. So this thing needs to be treated like gold at this point. So Discord's fine, Spotify is getting flaky, but it's still working. Google Chrome is working okay. Let's see if the Winvano system update will download, because I know as of a couple months ago it still said it supports Windows 7, and it looks like it still says that. But I wonder if now that they've changed the website to have that legacy thing, is it going to no longer work properly? It does have Windows 7 listed here. You never used to have to do this. I don't know why now it requires the serial number just to download the thing. Oh, there it goes. I believe this is still missing 3 drivers. So let's see. Yeah, it's still missing 3 drivers, so let's see what this comes up with. And then the last thing I want to check is the activation. I have written down the activation code because it's underneath where the battery goes. So we got more updates ready to install. Lenovo system update. More flood warnings. That's not getting a very good signal right now. The signal on that really varies when there's a storm. Oh, there's the updates. Yeah, it's got them. So this is still working. So then the last thing to check is the activation. So this is where the code we're going to use is the code that's on this machine. I'll type it in now and then click next and we'll see what happens. I have activated this code before, but only with this machine. So this should be the same, or it is rather, the same machine reactivating the same code. There should not be a problem with that because that is allowed. It should have taken it by now. There it goes. Okay, so activation still works. So as of 3/23/2024, Windows 7 is still 100%. Nothing here is broken. That's great news. I don't know how much longer it's going to last, but as of now, everything is copacetic, and so I'm going to continue to use it.